Hey everyone, welcome back. If you're just joining us, this week we are working on a full flow that'll prepare us for crow pose. So the previous 3 weeks of poses that we worked on were all to get us ready for this class. You don't necessarily need any props. I have a block here because you may use it if you can't work up to crow the way I would show you anyway. So if you have one, have it nearby, but it's totally not necessary at all. Even if you just have like a sturdy dictionary, like a large thick book, or even a pillow might work. So just have something nearby in case you need it, but totally not necessary. When you're ready, we're just gonna start in child's pose. So go ahead and turn to the side, take the feet together, the knees wide apart. Sit your hips back on the heels and then walk the hands all the way out. You can bring the forehead down to your mat. And just take a few easy breaths here. You can relax the elbows and keep them bent if you like, or even wrap the arms around towards the heels. And just work on slowing the breath down. And on your next breath in, just walk the hands up a little bit. I want you to take the right hand outside of the right knee, reach the left arm really far over, keep the hips back, and just drop the upper body down so the forehead is on your mat. And the whole left side is stretching. And inhale, lift up. Go ahead and walk it the other way. Just take the left hand outside the left knee. Reach the right arm really far over and then lay down. So again, the right side should feel nice and open. And slowly come back to the center. Go ahead and lean into both hands, tuck the toes, take a downward facing dog. You can bend the knees if you need to since it's the first one. Maybe pedal out the feet just a little bit. Just take a couple breaths here. We're not going to stay a very long time. Then when you're ready, look forward. Just step the feet up behind the hands and find a forward fold. Relax the head, the neck, and the shoulders down. Then soften the knees. Inhale, sweep the arms all the way up. Bring the hands together and exhale them right down to the heart center. We're going to start a little bit differently than we normally do. So go ahead and step the feet wide, about as wide as your mat, and just turn the toes slightly out towards the diagonal. So from here, you want to keep the same form in the upper body as you would in any normal sun salutation. It's just the lower half is a little bit different. So as you inhale, pick both arms up overhead. I want you to bend the elbows, press the forearms together, bend the knees deeply, and roll forward like a wide forward fold. Inhale, one vertebra at a time, come up. We're going to do it 4 times. Inhale, arms up, hands together. Bend the elbows, forearms together. Sit low, come down. And then inhale, roll 1 vertebra at a time all the way up. 2 more. Hands together, forearms start to sit down. Hands down, roll up 1 inch at a time. On the last one, you're going to stay in your fold, hands together, elbows together, sit down. Pause here. Inhale, lift the chest halfway. Exhale, step the left foot really far back. Drop the knee down so you end up in a low lunge. So kick into the top of the left foot, drop the hips forward, pull the chest through. Tuck the left toes under. Step back to a plank. Exhale, drop the knees. We're going to lower down halfway. Lay the chest flat. Start to roll the shoulders back, find cobra. So hands in line with the chest. Gently press up. Reach through the crown of the head. And slowly lower down. Tuck the toes. Sit up and back. Downward facing dog. Look to the hands. Step the feet to the outside of the hands so we can come back to where we started. Feet nice and wide. Forward fold. Slowly roll up 1 inch at a time. Inhale, pick the arms up. Hands together, elbows together, sit low. Drop the hands, roll up 1 inch at a time. Head comes up last, then reach the arms. Elbows together, sit nice and low. Hands down, roll up 1 inch at a time. Inhale, arms up. Elbows together, sit low. Inhale, roll up. We've got one more. You're going to stay in your fold on that last one. Elbows together, sit low. Plant the hands, lift the hips. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Go ahead and step the right foot really far back. Drop the knee down. You're coming into your really low lunge. So press the right hip forward. Lift the chest towards the top of your mat. Keep the hips heavy. So we're just kind of trying to open up the hips a little bit, keeping some strength in the shoulders to prepare us for our crow pose. When you're ready, tuck the right toes under. Step back to a plank. This time we'll do our full chaturanga. Shifting your weight forward, lower down halfway. Lay the chest flat. Find cobra. Squeeze the thighs, press into the feet, lift the chest slightly. Exhale, lower down. Tuck the toes, sit up and back. Downward facing dog. Pause here. It's not something we really think about a whole lot, I don't think, but one of the things that's really key to getting your crow pose is strengthening the shoulders. So I want you to shift forward to a plank and go ahead and roll to the left side. So left side plank. If you need to, you can always drop one knee down, extend the opposite arm up. Totally up to you. Make sure that when you look down, you can see your fingers. So you should have your wrist under the shoulder, and don't let it back too far down towards the feet, otherwise you'll lose your balance. Lift the hips high. Find one point to focus on. Inhale fully. Exhale the right hand down. Roll to the right side. Stack the left arm up. Remember, you can drop one knee. Another thing that's super important to crow pose is core strength. So we're kind of killing two birds with one stone. Look at that. I made a joke, didn't even mean to. Very appropriate for our crow pose flow. Lift the hips a little higher. Exhale the left hand down. Hold your regular plank. I want you to lift the right toes up. Pull the right knee in toward the chest, but keep the back pretty flat. So drop the hips low, pull the chest forward, squeeze the thigh in. Inhale back. Left toes lift. Squeeze the thigh in toward the chest, pull the chest forward. Inhale back. Sit up and back, downward facing dog. Look to the hands. Step the left foot outside the left hand, right foot outside the right. Sit the hips down. So remember your malasana or garland pose from the other week? That's what we're doing here. So remember, if the heels are lifted, you can roll up a towel or the end of your mat so that the heels can rest. Engage the outer hips, lift the chest, lift the crown of the head. We're going to hold for a few breaths. So pull the belly back, breathe, pressing evenly into all points of the feet. And pay attention to the shoulders too. When we're trying to hold this pose and maintain our breath, sometimes we tend to pull the shoulders up and press the hips back, and we've got this really uncomfortable tightness here. So imagine the shoulder blades dropping down. Even if you have to work to pull them down a little bit, it's okay. Think of leading with the chest. Maybe that's a better way of describing it. Take one more breath. And exhale, let the hands come down. So go ahead and walk the feet in. We're going to try our crow pose. And Here's where you may or may not need your block. Again, totally unnecessary for the most part. It's just an option. So one of the things that kind of trips people up when getting into crow pose is the fact that you feel like you can't get your butt high enough to actually lean your weight into the arms. So for example, when we start in our crow, or when we enter crow pose, we would typically come from standing, let's say, for a beginner class, right? The hands would come down, and you would want to get the hips really high so that when you bend the elbows, the knees can come on to the triceps. But if this already just feels like you can't quite get your legs high enough, sometimes it helps to bring the floor higher, meaning your block would come down and you could stand on your block. And that way, it's a lot easier to actually get to that point where you could hold that crow pose. So, let's try it. If you're on your block or your dictionary, cool. If not, that's fine too. So make sure the fingers are spread really wide. I'm going to turn towards you so you can see. Fingers are spread wide so you have a really solid foundation. The elbows will bend towards you. Try not to let them go out to the sides because then where would your knees go, right? So the elbows bend towards the shins. You're leaning into the triceps. And as you pull the belly in toward the spine, maybe take one foot up. I'll turn back the other way. So keep the form in your arms, shifting forward. Squeeze one foot up, maybe the other. Obviously, you can hold for as long as you like, for as long as you can. Even if you can only get half a second up there, it's fine. It'll go with time, I promise you. Also, if you just want to take one foot up at a time and hold, so kind of like we just did it, but we tried to get both feet up at once. So when you come forward, you can even go 1 foot and alternate feet. See how that feels. One side might feel a little bit easier. So even, let's say I can do crow pose for the most part, but I notice which side is easier when I lift 1 foot up over the other. So play with that and see how your balance feels there. Even if that version of crow doesn't work for you, you can always cheat a little bit. Nothing wrong with that, okay? Just bending the elbows differently and deeper. So I'll face you again so you can see. So not technically crow pose, but it works because it makes you feel super awesome about yourself, which I think is totally worth it. So in that case, the elbows would bend a lot more, the knees would come wide, and you would really let the whole body weight kind of dip onto the arms. So I'm kind of flattening my back, and everything is sitting on my upper body, if that makes sense. So you can still stand on your block or your dictionary once you get there. And once you finish your crow, you can try this a million times later today if you like, but go ahead and take a vinyasa just to even things out. Cobra, maybe up dog. Sit it back to downward facing dog. Then bring the feet together, take the knees apart, sit back in child's pose, and relax. So instead of our regular Shavasana, I want to finish where we began. Just relaxing the upper body. Letting the breath slow down. And just remind yourself that crow is not an easy pose. It by itself is not a beginner's pose. So if you didn't quite get it today, it is quite all right. There's lots of time for that. And when you do get it, and it feels super easy, it'll be that much more rewarding. On your next breath in, start to walk the hands up. You can keep the eyes closed. Find a comfortable seat at the top of your mat. And relax the shoulders. When you're ready, inhale, reaching the arms up overhead. Exhale them right down to the heart center, sealing it all in. Then blink the eyes open. Namaste. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I really hope you enjoyed that one. Let me know what you'd like to see next in the comments below, and hopefully I'll get to your request soon. Thank you so much again. I'll see you right back here next week. Have an awesome rest of your day.